happy Monday. How you all doing?
Can you believe it's Monday again? My goodness me.
Tempus fugit. Tempus fugit.
Yeah. Well,
does.
What is the ruler of Monday? The moon.
There's a giveaway in the name, isn't there?
Moon Day, Monday.
Some people have already said Happy Full Moon Day.
Happy Full Moon Day.
Happy Full Moon Day.
This is a really intense kind of energy today.
It is.
And we will be feeling this kind of intense energy building.
For the foreseeable future.
Well, honestly, till probably around August. But I think there are definitely markers like this full moon and next Monday and the 26th of this month. There's all sorts of things that are markers, you know. And just as we look at things, we always get that tiptoe in, retrograde back, move back over. So we kind of get the lesson. We get a chance at the lesson 3 times.
3 times? The third time's the charm, eh? I don't know.
Yeah, and the interesting thing, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on details, but just suffice to say that cycles, right? Astrology are circles within circles. Cycles come to a spot and they regenerate, or they have a return. Just like we have our solar return, we have our birthday, right? And these cycles are all different patterns. We have an 18.6-year cycle, a 40-year cycle, an 84-year cycle, 250-year cycle. And all of these cycles
coinciding.
There's a 90-year cycle.
Oh my goodness.
They're all converging and coming to their marker, to their intensity at the same time.
Which is a pretty much unheard of event.
It really is. And I mean, we have that planetary alignment coming, which is, you know, also an omen. But the actual signs and aspects that these planets are making, you know, you could go back.
I don't think you could.
Well, you could try to go back in your ephemeris and several astrologers have tried to calculate back, and they gave up after about 5,000 years.
Oh wow!
So yeah,
it's maybe the first ever.
I don't know. We truly are living in interesting times.
Oh my!
And you know, let's hope we all get it right, because we need to.
Well, yes, the consequences of not getting it right.
So what I've noticed since November, right before the election, there was a configuration that's going to have its most intensity the end of April, right? So we have this in-back push, and I've noticed that since then, you know, people have been very focused on caring for others, which is hugely important.
I think it is.
Right?
Yeah.
People have taken on that kind of Cancerian, mothering, nurturing mode. And there are other reasons for that. If we looked at Mars, for example, we said that Mars had was being hosted in Cancer for a long time, right? And that Mars and Cancer, they're not exactly friends, but they make for mama bears.
Oh, right.
And I think a lot of us have been in that protective, don't mess with my tribe kind of mode. And I think that's very important. I do think that over this next year and on into practically the end of 2027, when these cycles finally finish themselves out. So we do need to focus on our tribe, our community, the people that want to be of like mind.
Share a common interest.
That have a common interest, that are going to work towards helping and kindness and using their skills for the betterment of others. So, you know, you want to think about who's around you and who you can help and who you would want to be with, you know, if things got difficult, where do you want to be? Who do you want to be with if there is some really difficult time coming? Now, I certainly don't profess to be the guru, like all of the other psychics and astrologers who are looking at things. You feel most of them are saying, we know something is going to happen.
Can't tell you what.
But we don't know exactly what. You know, like, for example, next Monday has this really strange operative with it. And we do know that the United States is going to set a precedent with the, you know, what's going on that day. And I'm not talking about Martin Luther King Day. I'm talking about the inauguration. But we don't know exactly what that is going to play out to be. Or even if looking into it, how it's going to be. You know, how it's going to be handled. That moment, that ignition, whatever you want to call it. So we really don't know exactly what's going to happen over these next 2 years, but we can certainly look at history and see the things that happened. And many of them were very unique and revolutionary, and not all good. Many of them were...
There was much upsetting of the status quo.
Yeah, many of them were
empirical evidence.
Aggressive actions and things that were difficult to handle. So we know all these cycles, that the cycles that brought us, you know, a lot of lessons in the past are going to be offering those lessons again, all at once, to see if we got it right. So I do think more than ever we will need our community. And that in itself is a joyful thing.
It is.
Right?
I love community.
We have to find the wellness and the support and the joy wherever we can. Because if we are sensitives and have a connection to the feeling of others, you may have noticed that things were a bit heavy since November.
Oh,
and again,
really?
I'm not being political at this point. I'm saying no matter how the election went or who was picked, the energy has been intense.
Very difficult, fractious energy.
You know, since November, and it's getting more and more intense. Mars and Cancer, and all of the other outer planet shifts that are happening. So we said, you know, I bet that for this healing energy that we have offered, because we always look to see what is offered, we have this healing energy offered in the sign of Cancer, with the full moon ruled by Cancer. But we also have to take into an understanding that Mars is very nearby. And Mars wants to clear the decks, right? So it's a good time to do self-healing. And it's a good time to let yourself purge feelings that are not helping. Right? So I just said, you know, we want to connect to joy and happiness and wellness and peace of mind, you know, and, you know, mind, body, spirit wellness, this kind of energy. But we also want to be able to let go of some of that feeling of panic, right? And
because you'll
fear,
actually do harm to yourself.
Fear, panic, that heavy energy, things that might make you feel like you're grieving. That should be weird.
No, it's mine.
I was going to say I've turned my phone off, but I just have it in case the store needs us. but that feeling of heaviness or depression or panic, feelings that you may not really have been able to shake since the ancestors' time, since Samhain, Calangaeaf, that beginning of November, things have been a bit,
Yeah. I mean, if you had to put your finger on the zeitgeist, I think there's a horrible feeling of uncertainty amongst everybody, regardless of whatever side of the political divide you happen to be. There's this horrible feeling of uncertainty.
Well, we still have Uranus activating Al Ghul, and we can see different heads of different countries resigning or being
Heads will roll, so to
rolled.
speak.
Yep, there's a lot of very headless kind of energy, which we're going to see expressed here in the United States one way or another, I suppose.
I wanna say also though, but what the feeling that you have right now, if you are in some degree, we should say hello to everybody. There's a ton of people.
I'm just speaking.
The feeling that you have to understand where it lives. It lives in your head, So it was really interesting because yesterday we did our culmination of the Fool's Journey through the Major Arcana.
In tarot class, yeah.
Our tarot class, and we started to dive into the psyche, particularly Jungian archetypes, and
that's the next class.
The super ego and all that sort of stuff. It's kind of interesting though, but where our uncertainties, where our fears lie, are actually within us, and you have to think back, where Yoda sends Luke into the cave in Dagobah, and he goes, "Well, I'm not frightened, Martian. There, I'm not frightened. I'll fight it off. I'm not frightened." "Oh, you will be. You will be."
Yeah.
Why? What's in there? Only what you take with you, and we are dragging this stuff around with us. Yes, outside events aren't helping us feel the way we feel. But you have to understand it's within us. And as it's within us, we have the power to do something about it. Mm-hmm. That's the good news. And this is a most opportune time astrologically with the full moon in Cancer, which occurs on a moon day as well, to really use, because the moon is all about the psyche.
Well, and if we took a word for Mars, a positive word for Mars is motivate.
Yep, get it done. Get it done. So we have to effectively face our fears. But you have to understand this is a tricky thing. This is where it gets a tricky dicky. And I'll shut up after this. But you can't, cut your fear off or throw it in a box and put a lock on it and bury it, because it's going to become the disenfranchised employee that is screaming out all the time and messing your life about. You have to bring it back into the fold and bring it back into balance and recognize that it is part of you and provides a necessary function. So that's going to be like the working on the psyche to get ourselves in a place where we're okay, and okay is good enough. It really is.
Well, yeah, just because there are these energies, you don't have to accept them. And just because there are opportunities, you don't have to take them.
That's true.
Right? So there's always a balance. And as magical people, we're always looking for good opportunity. And then we forget that we don't have to take every single opportunity. So why do we think we have to accept every single negative thing? We don't. You can take in what serves you. You don't have to take everything in. And it doesn't mean that you don't care. And it doesn't mean that you don't want to help. And it doesn't mean that you're a bad person. But you don't have to say yes to everything, especially if you think it's going to be something harmful for you. All right. There is no way we could have just a little less light, is there? Like just this one that really... Is that possible?
Kind of. Hold on.
Only because I want to do in that in-between sort of meditative place.
No, that one.
No, that side one.
So I'm set and trying.
Oh, that's good.
Is that okay?
Is that okay? Yeah, I think they can still see us. Don't worry.
I can see it.
But it's not just hurting my eyes.
I'm sorry.
All right. Gosh, we have a lot of people.
I should scroll back up because there was more.
Well, there was Sean, I think, up there. Yeah. We have Sean and Wendy and Logan and Susan and Nicole and Jess and Doris Jean and Gilda and Cass and Kimberly and Shauna and Lori and Peggy and Rhonda and Johnny Hollywood.
Hey, Johnny Hollywood. He's new here.
Savannah and Carol. Okay. That's a nice big group that knows how to work.
Yes, it is, actually.
So the first thing I want you to do, we're not going to necessarily cast a circle. You're each kind of going to be responsible in your space for this making a sacred space. So the first thing I'd like you to do is close your eyes and take a nice deep breath. And imagine that you are on the shore of the ocean. And it doesn't matter where you are. It could be a familiar place that you go to visit, or if you've never been to the ocean, use your imagination. And let yourself begin to hear the soft waves kind of washing up and then pulling back out. And walk forward just enough that your feet recognize the sand moving, where you can feel the water coming up, and as it pulls back out, a little bit of the sand moves near your feet. And imagine, if you will, that it's nighttime and that there is this enormous, gorgeous, white, shimmery, silvery moon out in front of you in the ocean. And just take a moment and feel that moonlight reaching out and touching you. When you look down at your arms and hands or down at what you're wearing, let it also become shimmery with that silvery white moonlight. And let yourself feel safe and protected in that light. And continue to hold that light while we do the rest of our working. So that moonlight out in front of you, well lit, just above the ocean, and you standing in the edge of the water, is what's creating your sacred space. Okay, now I'm going to show you the card that I chose for today, which is the High Priestess. And this is Binah. And Binah sits in the supernals of the Tree of Life, at the top of the goddess pillar. And her word is understanding. And you'll notice that on this card we have all the phases of the moon, right? We have this beautiful crescent at her feet that almost looks like water flowing over it. At her crown, we can see a waning, a full, and a waxing moon. So all of the energy of the moon is here in the sphere of Binah. But Binah is ruled by Saturn. And Saturn is our karmic story, our lessons, and what we're going to do with what we have, our practicality. So I chose that card instead of choosing the Chariot, which really is the liminal where we're all standing right now. Okay, so I'm going to now light a full moon candle that Anton made yesterday. So the full moon candles that are going to the shop today are actually made in the energy of that waxing full moon.
Yeah. The second pour occurred around 1 o'clock in the morning.
So, you're all going to want to run to the shop and get a full moon candle. All right. I also have here clear quartz. There's a clear quartz cluster and a heart. There's a black tourmaline for protection. And then there's this amethyst ball to help us kind of get in touch with our psyche. So all of this energy, understanding, dealing with the changing energies of the moon, dealing with the changing energies of the world, connecting to our spiritual intelligence, our inner moon, that third eye, amethyst, protection, and clarity. All right, so now I'm going to have you close your eyes again. And I'm going to have you go back to that space and hear that washing energy of the ocean. And see that moon out in front of you. And see that beautiful light. It's big and bright. And let yourself see that there's a path of light. It might be rippling a little, but you can see a path of light reaching from that moon, making silvery energy, silvery white energy, all the way from the moon to the shore where you're standing. And take a deep breath and feel yourself being lifted or being a little bit lighter. And feel that transformative energy, that beautiful energy of air, and feel the beautiful energy of water, and feel them working together to lift you and make you lighter. And imagine, without any fear, that you can walk out onto that beam of light. And feel yourself being stable and safe, and walk out towards the moon. And as you walk a little ways, you notice that in front of the moon there stands a shimmery figure, much like that of the high priestess, crowned with the triple moon, dressed in a silvery, shimmery light. This is Binah. Understand she's calling to you, and walk to her. Stand in front of her or float in front of her. Allow yourself to look into her eyes. This is a goddess of divine understanding, of the divine feminine, of the energy connected to the healing work of the moon itself. And think about where you might be holding some energy that you want to get rid of. Do you have something stuck in your physical body? Some pain, some stress, some nervous energy? Do you have something stuck in your emotional body? Distress, pressure, worry, fear. Do you have something stuck in your mind? Things you're thinking about that really don't serve you. They don't help you. Is there something that you want to solve? Is there an issue you want clarity for? Or do you have something going on where it's difficult for you to connect to spirit? And think about these energies, these 4 energies: spirit, the mind, the emotions, the physical body. And feel that bright energy of the moon in front of you. It's intense now. And feel this goddess in front of you with her divine understanding. And see her reach a hand out towards you, pointing directly at your heart center. And see her making a spiral, pulling energy out from your heart center, spiraling towards her. She's pulling this back towards her and placing it into her own heart center. And feel her coming again with this energy of the moon and understanding. And now she's pointing it at your 3 lower chakras: your will, your physical body, your energy to protect. And feel her pulling that spiral of energy from there back towards herself and placing it into her low body. And feel her coming again towards you with that energy for third eye and throat chakra. And feel her pulling that spiral back towards her. And the last time she comes is towards crown. And she makes that spiral out from above your head and pulls that energy back towards her. And on those spirals, send out what it is that you want to release. Pressures and stresses that are held in your physical body, things that are blocking you. In your emotional body, things that you've been feeling, processing. In your mental body, things that you've had a difficulty trying to reconcile or deal with. And things from your spiritual energy that you wish to clear so you can connect. And now she walks towards you again, but this time she offers you an embrace. You close your eyes and you can feel her energy surrounding you, hugging you, and it's as if the moon itself is holding you above the body of water that you recognize is almost like a womb. And she leans back and kisses you upon your third eye. And you can feel this bright light. And she steps back a little and puts a spiral of energy out towards you this time. A giant spiral. that fills all of the chakras and lights them with the energy of the moon, of healing, of understanding, of knowing, of protection. And she bows to you, and you feel this divine light in your heart center, flowing through you, filling you, overflowing. And you thank her for this beautiful gift. And somehow you find yourself back on the shore. And you can feel yourself grounded upon the sand, upon that quartz, that silica energy. And as you look out, the pathway seems to have disappeared and become the ocean again. And she and the moon are no longer there. But you can feel her, and you know where to find her. And over these next few months, you could visit her whenever you have a need. Take a nice deep breath and come back into the space that you're in. Feel your surroundings in the room that you're in, and open your eyes whenever you feel comfortable.
Wow. That was pretty profound. Oh, okay. I wasn't expecting that. I love it when she pulls things out like that. It's beautiful. All right. Well, I actually feel
Renewed,
enlightened, and darkened. I don't know what the word is.
Well, spirals are powerful healing
they
energy.
just?
We have spiral in Reiki, we have spiral in Egyptian healing, we have spirals all throughout the Celtic world. Spirals are extremely healing.
Yeah. Wow. That was pretty good. Okay, so I think
I think
all
people stoned.
People are a little bit stoned now. See, you don't need much apart from your mind, do you? That's good.
Well, that's very Kabbalistic and stuff.
It is, but we need more of that. We need more of that. That's and it's so easy as long as you've got a great guide.
Well, this is recorded now. You can go back and do it again and again and again.
There you go.
Right? So if you think of something that you want cleansed or purified, or some little support that you need to have, you can go and listen to this, and you will be part of the community that did this work together, as well as be able to find Binna again.
You were there. You were at Woodstock. That's true. You were part of that energy. It was your energy too, that collective energy. And it is that community. When people come together to work for good happens.
Well, everyone that was here live has connected and created like an oversoul, a safe place. So whenever you come back,
there's an astral temple there now.
There's an astral temple. Well, let me tell you that astral temple has existed for a very long time. The temple of Binna, has been there a very long time, and that is how most occultists would bring you to her on the path of moonlight.
It's quite beautiful though. But I mean, Binna is understanding, is it not? But the understanding of understanding. I know there's a fancy scientific word for it, but I can't remember it right now. But yeah, the nature of magic and the magic of nature.
We're stuck on that, I think, these last few weeks. But seriously,
Excuse me.
I think a lot of us have recognized that we've been responding or reacting out of character.
Yeah.
Because we are being forced by all these different circumstances to deal with something that's out of the ordinary, you know?
And for some, and I think particularly those of the Cancerian persuasion, it's been almost intolerable, you know.
Well, I have Cancer moon.
Yeah, and
I have
a Cancer ascendant.
Yeah.
And I've been fractious. I will say that.
Right.
Yeah.
Cancer's been beat up by Mars, but we can always harness Mars. You know, as an astrologer, I want to put that out there. You can always harness Mars into action. And where does Mars want to act now? Right? So Mars rules Aries, right? And Mars loves Capricorn as its exaltation, right? Because it knows when it meets up with Capricorn, climb every mountain.
Well, Capricorn don't quit.
There will be a destiny for that action. But it doesn't like Cancer so much. The opposite sign of Capricorn doesn't like that so much.
See, that
It's called its detriment.
It's detriment. Well, Cancer is forgiving, isn't it? Cancer wants to nurture and forgive and make better and give a hug and put a plaster on it, kind of thing, or a bandage, or whatever you want to call it. Whereas Mars just wants to hack it off and run it through, you know.
But sometimes we need to. Sometimes we need to take action. So I think that wherever Cancer is in our charts, we are feeling pushed to action, right? So I have Cancer moon. This is pushing on my emotional buttons, right? And I have Cancer moon in the 11th house, my house of groups and organizations and community, right? So I never cry. It's just not something I do. I don't process that way. But for the last week or so, I've been just using tears to purge and having very strange, like flashback things to process. And I've noticed that Anton, you know, the natural ruler of the first house is Aries, right? The warrior, been very emotionally wary. Been very, you know, you have.
Probably true.
So just think about where in your chart is this being expressed, and is there anything in that house that is being collected, right? Like if it was just in my 11th house, it would still be a focus on groups and organizations. But if there's other players there that have other expressions, what's being hit by this full moon and this Mars energy? Who's come to visit? Where are they resting or not resting, stirring the shit?
Yes.
Right?
Who stormed into the party and started kicking the drinks over?
Are they on your sun? and if they're on your sun, man, you being stormed. Right? So Cancerians are being stormed. And just have a look. Where is it? Is it in my house of partnerships? Is it in my house of finance? Where is it? And again, shameless plug, astrology class starts on Thursday. Because half the class was sick last week, so I postponed a week.
So if you want to join in.
If you want to join, we're still taking new players. And you won't regret it. Astrology is a wonderful language to have.
Isn't it? It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Amazing. And you have to think of the countless millennia of empirical evidence that's been built up, you know, to have this ability to do that. And yeah, okay, listen, I'm sort of geeky, I'm scientific, and I fully understand that correlation is not causation. But, you know, if something has happened 9 times after the last 9 times,
it might be.
When it recurs the 10th time, there's
an expectation of similarity.
I would suggest there's a very strong probability that what happened, you know, these last 9 times of that particular asterism is going to happen for the 10th.
Well, the reason we don't really know what exactly is going to happen is there are too many possibilities.
It's a lot of variables.
Right?
It's a lot of variables.
There are things that were markers in the 60s that I've talked about that 11:59 to midnight, right? There are things that are playing out that were markers in the early 60s. There are things that are playing out from the AIDS epidemic. There are things playing out from 9/11. There are things we don't know what's going to happen when they all converge. There are other good things. They may not weigh out these sporadic crazy things. We don't know how we're going to adapt, improvise, and overcome this.
That's a good phrase.
But we all need to focus on the light. In fact, I wore my t-shirt today that says choose joy.
Choose joy.
Because if you get a chance to make a choice between doom and gloom and healing and joy, please pick
Go
the
with
healing and joy.
You'll feel better for it. You will, as will those around you.
So that's our gig.
Yeah. No, that was wonderful. Thank you. That was really, really well needed.
I think that I would like to pull 3 cards for the week.
Oh, hello.
And
Get mini reading.
Next Monday, we are going to have our show at the time when it's all kicking off. So we must have like a little live feed or something. And
No, we don't need a live feed. Don't need to watch that, thank you.
all right.
And Gilda's plugging your Taroscope reading.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't suck.
I've decided that the people that I gave the price of $125 for the hour, and I said I was only going to do that till the middle of January. I've decided that now I've had enough guinea pigs, I've perfected the craft. And I got a lot of really good feedback. So I'm going to leave it at that price. I'm going to do the $125 for the hour, which is a whole entire year. Or I'll do a half hour for $50, 2 months of transits. So if you want to go along a couple of months at a time, we could do that. And if you want the whole year, we can just do February to February, So I'm going to continue to do that. And it's either in person or on Zoom, or as it works out, possibly FaceTime.
Yeah.
Zoom has been acting up for some people.
Sometimes Zoom has a mind of its own, apparently. So.
And then I'm also looking to maybe do a once a month moon workshop.
Oh, hello.
Where we'll look at the 4 main phases of the moon, the signs and OM that's offered, and how that will personally affect you. So,
a lunation workshop.
A lunation workshop that can create
Sounds
for
like
you
lunacy.
A lunation book of shadows, and then obviously always give handouts, but we might have other little goodies that go along with that. If I get enough people.
So before you pull the cards, well, you're going to pull the cards anyway. You're going to shuffle them up. I just want to say, for the first time in I don't know when, the candle wall is completely stocked, or will be when we get the last batch in.
We have 9 to take in today.
Yep, and that's it. We're not out of anything. So I dare you. And yes, the full moon candles were actually made with
last
the
night
energy
in the
of
full
the
moon.
So
Yep.
I expect I'll be making them again at the end of the week.
Why don't you pick me the 3 cards? And this will be how we as a community can understand the energies of this coming week. All right. Looking forward to my reading. Oh, yes, we have to get on that. I did mine as a birthday gift to myself. So mote it be.
Nothing wrong with your birthday gift to yourself.
All right.
You're going to like it.
I'm going to look at these 3 cards as the initiator, the action, and how to best heal that action, right? The initiator, the action we take, and how best to deal or heal. So the initiator is the sword of control. So I would see this as the thing that starts you is that energy of feeling like you don't have control.
You need to get back in control.
So the way to, how can you get back in control? Right? You want to be the one wielding this sword. You don't want somebody else cutting your way. You want to control. So how can you do that? What action can you take to maintain that control? Predwin.
What if the ship was your imagination?
Right? So in our tradition and in Christopher's teachings, he tells us that if we want to manifest something, we need our Arthur, which is our courage, our Taliesin, which is our brilliance, and our Prydwen, that which will move us where we want to go. And you've all heard the story where I said, well, what if the ship is your imagination? So what that's out of your control is an illusion. And what is in your control that you haven't seen yet. So sort the rough waters from the smooth sailing. That's the action. Let go of the illusions and take back the sword. Move yourself. That's how you can get back into control. That's the action. And that will bring you to a real place of beauty, abundance, serenity, bounty, right? So this next week is sorting out the messages. She's got a little falcon there that goes out, sees what's going on, comes back. She's growing these amazing grapes, right? There's this little snail, hasn't been an easy journey.
Snails move quite quickly.
Yeah.
It's all perception.
This card is very, very yellow. So again, that's solar plexus.
Yes, yes.
Our will. Right? So to get back our control, we need to sort what's an illusion and what is real. And we need to be grounded and focused and follow things through.
Yes.
And you'll be okay.
All right, so, and this is some weird coincidences. Are there weird coincidences? When I see the sword, the Ace of Swords, I immediately think, yeah, Hoyle. You know, your courage, your Hoyle, your heart. You know,
Yep.
what's in here, and the saying, you know, faint heart never won fair lady kind of thing. So I see that very much as like the Arthurian trait, if you will.
Well, the sword and the stone, right? The pure
Arthurian,
of heart.
pure of heart, but yes, having a Hoyle. And then, of course, we got Prydwen.
The ship.
And you're not going to believe me, but it's the damn truth.
He made Arthur and Prydwen last night.
So maybe you want to put them on the shopping list too.
I kept one. I kept a full moon, an Arthur, and a Prydwen.
Well, you kind of utilise the full moon right now. So
but I don't have a Taliesin. I have to grab a Taliesin.
Yeah, no, we've still got Taliesin in stock, so it didn't come up for. But we have that one.
Yeah. But you could look at them as your Hoyle, your courage, your initiator, your Arthur, your Prydwen.
What's going to get you there?
Right? That will bring you to your brilliance. That will bring you to your Taliesin. You know?
And it is, we all have that ability to really have a brilliant day.
A radiant mind. We can think it through.
Yeah, if we allow, if we understand that the weight, the heaviness, all right, is holding you down. It's sucking you into like that quicksand where you feel like powerless to move, and the more you struggle, the harder it gets. But when you stop struggling and you just like leave it be, float to the surface, and there you go. It's just there's so much we can simply do, you know, and it doesn't have to be a battle. But the battle's in your mind. You know, that's where it goes. But don't see it as a struggle so much, and just change your focus. Oh, so gently change your focus. And you know what you focus on comes into focus, quite literally. That becomes, that which moves you where you need to be.
Logan's saying bronze shield could be seen as his heart. It could be.
Between his shield and his shoulder.
Courageous to know. Yeah. You can also look at the shield as like his house, his coat of arms, his place where Bronwyn really belonged. Right? So he held her between his shoulder. He took that burden of his karma or whatever was happening. He held her between his shoulder and the shield. He was taking on the burden of everything that was going on and protecting her within the house of Llŷr.
Which is also about the ocean. Yes. Oh, what a good show.
Oh, we don't say so yourself, eh?
Well, no, I had nothing to do with it. This is probably why it was such a good show.
Oh my goodness.
No, I love it when. Oh, hello. What happened there? That went out.
That went out. All right.
Yeah.
Well, listen, guys. I know you're probably going, oh my God, we didn't get individual readings, but I think you got a lot of information about how to deal with this week.
Absolutely.
And you could take that reading and apply it to whatever it is you're working on. Because in order to resolve something, you have to get control over it. You have to use your mind, think it through, and get to that place of sovereignty or establishing the rules kind of thing. All right? No matter what it is that you're working on for yourself. And please go back and play this again. If you need to, every morning. Well, it only took about 25-30 minutes. Give yourself that time. Take care of you. If your cup is empty, you cannot fill somebody else's. So work right now to help heal you. Or make a big deal of this tonight. Right? If you want to work on full moon energy tonight, get in your sacred space, cast your circle, and you can visualize everything that I said. You can go out on that beam of light and renew, and maybe you think of something else that you want to release now that you have time to think about it. Whatever it is, use this energy, harness that Mars. Open yourself to that energy of the full moon, of healing, of nurturing,
Yes.
And just do your best wherever you are.
Yeah, that's key, isn't it?
Do your
right
best
in the corner
where
where
you are. Yeah, right in the corner where you are.
You are, and brighten our corner by please sharing this. And
like,
and if you
comment,
haven't,
subscribe.
If you haven't actually hit the like button, which I can tell some of you haven't, tut. Go back and hit that like button, please, because and give the video a big old thumbs up. That's what we need. Because the more you say good things about it, the more people hear about it.
Well, we're like the best kept secret.
Yeah, we need to bring a bit of love and light into the world, and that's what we do, and you guys can help. So,
one of my all right, so a young girl came from California when she was 18 and came to the shop and took my tarot and astrology or whatever else. I can't remember what she took. And she came to visit the other day. So she still comes to visit. She's an Aquarian. And she was asking me about what's happening in astrology, and I gave my little, news report. And she said, you really should be on the news. You really should be on the... And I said, I have a YouTube channel. Really? I said, yes, Anton and I do this every week. She's like, oh my God, how come I never heard of it? I'm like, I don't know. Nobody's ever heard of us.
We need to be less of a well-kept secret.
Well, I say nobody's ever heard of us. Our wonderful community has certainly heard of us and supports us, and I appreciate every single one of you. But it is kind of frustrating to see these people online going, let's just pull a card. And I have no idea what it means or what it does, or I have no no attention span. I can't back up anything that I'm saying. It's very frustrating when they have like thousands of views and
Yes,
followers.
please don't chew gum when you...
Oh my God!
Come on. Come on.
You look 12 years old and you have no life experience, but you're going to try to advise people. I don't know. Crank, crank, stink. That's my Mars expression right now.
Yes.
Oh, dear.
There you go. Well, thank you
right.
guys
Well,
for
love to
joining
you
us.
all.
Thank you.
Love to you all.
Absolutely.
Guard your heart. Use your mind. Use your willpower. Take good care. And we'll see you next week.
And don't forget the candles. No, thank you so much for joining us. We love you guys.
Peace.
We'll see you soon. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. 17 hours 52 because we didn't quite make an hour.